good? So let's have a discussion about hard baits and the colors they are. So obviously with the technology we have today, like if I wanted to match a shad or a bait fish to a T, that would be no problem. That's easy. That's easy to do. But one thing I've noticed is that the baits that are as far away from what a shad or what a crawfish looks like seems to work best. And I guarantee you, if you could look at the sales reports from hard bait companies or even soft plastic companies, you'll probably notice that chartreuses, reds, blues, colors that I have never seen do the best, catch the most fish. One of my favorite colors for a crankbait is the chartreuse and black. That looks like absolutely nothing. I love reds, bright reds, and I love the demon crawl. That is like the coolest color ever. It looks like a freaking road cone, right? Why does that work so good? When you look into my hard bait box, like look at all like the colors. There's a few in here. Now there are some baits in here that like this looks exactly like a shad. You don't get no closer than that, right? But honestly, if I was gonna take off fishing today, probably old school fire tiger would be one of my first grabs. I don't look like nothing. If you tell me, listen, if you're ever swimming and you see something that looks like that, you better get out of the water. Even this, like a root beer color, I don't really look like much. If I wanted to tell a company to get me a bait that looks exactly like a blueback herring, we could get that. But I noticed that those baits don't catch as many fish, and it's always perplexed me. We always say match the hatch. That's the buzz term in fishing, match the hatch, right? And match the hatch is probably only about 50% accurate. There's times where matching the hatch and the size of the shad and the color and everything else is great. And then there's other times where you need to come in here with the old school bus. That's my favorite color right there when it comes to crankbaits. If you've watched any of my YouTube videos, you've seen me throw black and chartreuse square bills, black and chartreuse balsa plugs. You see me fish those. Why do they work so much better? And it comes down to one thing. When we're fishing our baits, what we're looking for more so, I prioritize this over matching the hatch. I prioritize attention. Attention is the thing that gets us bit. That's why we have, listen to this bait. Almost every bait in my crankbait box, what does it have? Rattles. You know what the rattles are about? Attention. I got to get the fish's attention. And so if I don't have his attention, I do not have a chance of catching the fish. So over matching the hatch, would I prioritize over matching the hatch? Would I prioritize over a lifelike, realistic color in most situations? Because I know everybody's gonna go down that road of, yeah, well, in my lake we get a lot of pressure, and you're in my lake because it's clear, and yeah, in my lake, listen, I live on a 50,000 acre lake where we have 300 boat high school tournaments, a lot of pressure, spotted bass, and 10-foot visibility. Still, my favorite colors are reds, chartreuses, and I still use some lifelike colors at certain times of the year. But why do these colors still work in clear water? It's attention. They get their attention. They can see it from a farther distance. They can hear it. They can see it. You've got to get his attention. So remember that when you're picking out your crankbaits, when you're picking out your jerk baits, your spinner baits, getting the attention of the fish should be your #1 priority. Does it have the flash? Can he see it? Can he hear it? Can he hear it? Rattle baits are popular. Why are rattle baits popular on grass lakes? Well, one, they come through grass really well. And you hear that? Look, I'll even open up another box of lipless baits. I'll show you another difference that you'll run into. So you have that one that I just showed you. It doesn't have that loud of a rattle. Then I have another box of lipless crankbaits, and they have extremely loud rattles. Let me find my lipless crankbait box here. Extremely loud rattles. Why is that? Because sometimes you have to match the mood of the fish. You got to match the mood of the fish. Sometimes they want something extremely loud. Sometimes they don't. Let's listen at this box right here. Is this one of my other boxes? Listen, this is a great box. This is what I call my loud box right here. We have a crankbait called the Scamp. And this something gonna sound like you put a screwdriver in a paint can. Sucker is loud as all get out. But it's a great bait to use in dirty water situations, muddy water situations, or around grass where fish are really buried up and they're not using their visual assets to find bait. Now they're using vibration, attention. That's how you can get their attention. Vibration, you can feel it, or you also use sound. They can hear it because they're tucked down in that grass. They can't see out of the grass. If he's sitting in that grass, especially a largemouth, sitting in the grass, you hear something coming by. Got him. Goes against it. Listen to the Scamp. Loud. It's louder than my lipless bait. This is the Magic Man 65. All right, listen at the Scamp. I can get his attention. I really got a lot of drawing power. I can use that when it's dirty water. I can use this if I'm fishing really thick grass, or I could use it in deeper water. This is a square bill bait that gets like 1 to 3 foot. But the deal about it, with it being loud like this, if I was fishing grass in 7, 8 foot, I can call him up. That's the deal. Now, if you don't believe this, I'm gonna break it down to you. I'm gonna make an analogy that I think will help you understand why attention should be your first priority. And it's even over color. In muddy water situations, one of the things that I always tell people when you're dealing with low light situations, that can mean that it's cloudy. That could mean that the water's muddy, low visibility. The lower the light penetration in the water, the more you have to depend on sound and vibration. Then your color doesn't become as important. All right, I can prove that to you in this little analogy here. I always tell people, if I were to place you in a dark room, if you've got stained water, there's no light penetration below probably 3 to 5 foot, nothing. So you can't see anything. And Bass's eye is exactly like ours. It has the same components that our eyes have. If you put a camera in about 5 foot of water where we are now, it'd be completely dark almost. So how do I get attention to my bait? You only have 2 options: vibration and sound. That's the only way you can get the fish's attention. So how do I get his attention? If I were to put you in a dark room, completely dark, I said, hey, I need you to find me. Find me in this dark room. The only way that you would really be able to find me is if I made some noise, I started breathing, started clapping my hands. The color, what color shirt I would have on you, it wouldn't matter. The only way you could find me is through the sound, or if I started moving. You could feel the wind movement of me moving my arms or doing jumping jacks or anything silly like that. It's the same way for a bass finding your bait in a dark room, in the dark water. The only way for him to find your bait is through vibration, which when we have crankbaits, that's the back and forth motion. With spinner baits, it's the blade spinning. With a chatterbait, it's the front blade chattering. That's how he finds your bait, through vibration, or you got sound. It doesn't matter about the paint scheme. You could throw a clear crankbait in muddy water. You'd probably catch just as many fish. So remember that when it comes to your color selection. Start placing attention above everything else and watch your fish catches go up when it comes to using hard baits. Think about that dark room scenario. If I go in a completely dark room, if I parked in a garage my truck and it was red, I say, hey, what color is my truck? You wouldn't know in a dark garage, but if I crunk it up, you would be able to hear the exhaust, you'd be able to feel the exhaust, you'd be able to feel the warmth of the engine. That's exactly what we're doing with our baits. We're getting their attention by sound, in clear water, color, in dirtier water, vibration, and how well can they hear it. That'll open up a whole new world to you when it comes to hard baits, what colors to use, what profiles, what blade combinations, and where you fish when your mind becomes attention instead of matching the hatch. You dig?